Hi, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you. And as we begin this afternoon, I would like to start with a photo of my nephew. You need to meet this guy. So I'm going to transition if we can turn our slides on. I'd like you to meet him. And here he is. He's Joey. He's 8 years old. And in this picture, I think he is the perfect visual for what we're going to talk about today, how to stand out in the marketplace. Now, he has 4 sisters, and if you can notice where he is in the photo, he is clearly standing out, and he always does if you ever get the opportunity to meet him. But it's a great visual of what we're going to talk about today. Standing out in the marketplace is something every business and every professional, every student tries to do at some point. And unfortunately, and I think all too often, we've seen some really great examples of this, and we've seen some very poor ones. And in an age of 24/7 technology, 24/7 instant publicity, I think it's a topic that's very important for us to slow down a bit today and focus on and really look at a clear roadmap of how to do this well. And that's what we're going to talk about. Now, the topic has lots of implications. I'm thrilled to see so many faces here today, which means we have lots of different walks of life here. Some of you are students, and you are about to earn that degree and put yourself out there in the job market, and you want to stand out against every other applicant that you're trying to get that job with. You want that hiring manager to choose you over everyone else. Some of us in the room are already in the workplace, and we are established professionals, and you want that executive to pick you for that promotion. You're ready. Choose me over everybody else who might also be qualified. Some of us are business owners in the room. And you have a product, you have a service, and you want customers to clearly choose you over the competitor who might actually offer the same service and product you do. So pick me. I want to stand out in the marketplace. We're in an age of social cause, and there are so many things that are wonderful to be a part of. And you may be involved in an organization like that, and you want other folks to come alongside you and contribute to that cause as well. So you have to stand out. You have to be different. Today we're going to look at 2 different questions, and you'll see them on our screen. Number 1, do I stand out? But secondly, is that how I want to stand out? And the distinction is incredibly critical. So this is what we'll do. I'm going to use graphics. I'm a visual learner. And this is the graphic we're going to walk through today. You and I are that little funny stick figure in the middle of the graphic. And on one side, you're going to see how character and competence, as they manifest through our behavior, as they play out in what we do, our behavior, our actions, how those drive or influence the decisions of those that we want to be noticeable to. So we talked about college students. You want to stand out to that hiring manager. That's going to be seen through how you manifest your character and your competence before them. If you're a current professional today, your character and your competence and how you manifest those, how you act those out, are going to make the difference on whether you're chosen. For business leaders in the day, it's how a customer chooses you and how your business plays out in its character and its competence. Now here's what's interesting. These 2 topics are completely interwoven. You can't take one without taking the other. So let's play that out for just a little bit. Have you ever known anyone who's incredibly talented? They're smart. Oh, they know their stuff. But you can't trust them. You know anybody like that? No one in this room, right? But we may know someone like that. But you have to flip it. Have you ever known someone who would do absolutely anything for you, but everything they tell you, you have to fact check? You're not quite sure it's accurate? Well, that's how it works. Those 2 are so integrated and related that I can't take one without taking the other. So in this roadmap we're going to talk about today, we're going to, number 1, define these terms, because I want to make sure we're on the same page with that and clearly understand what do we mean by competence, but what do we need by my personal character as well. And then I'm going to give you 3 very easy, very tactical ways to make sure these stay on your radar, because my goal for everybody in this room is I want you to stand out, but I want you to stand out for the right reasons. I never want to see your picture on a YouTube video. I never want to see someone rant about, oh, don't ever do business with so-and-so because fill in the blank. And in our age today, it's very, very possible. So here's what we'll do. we're going to define what I mean by character and what I mean by competence. We'll start with competence. For our context today, that simply means your skills, your abilities, your talents, those things that help you do what you do well. But here's the key. I can't just have skills. To stand out, I have to do those with excellence. I have to do them better than everybody else. So let's give a couple of examples. Let's say you're an accountant. You want to be an accountant. Well, that means you have to understand debits and credits. You have to understand financial terminology. You have to understand what does it mean to balance a set of books at the end of a business month so we make money. I have to know all of those things. But if I'm really excelling in my competence, that means I do that better than anybody else. I have a depth of knowledge at that. Let's say you're a supervisor. You work with a group of folks. Your competence might mean I've got to understand our business, I've got to understand our customers, I've got to understand what our products do and don't do, I've got to understand all of our budgeting, all of our processes. But because I oversee people, my competence also means that I have to know how to lead and guide and motivate them. And I have to do that very well with excellence. So that's what we're talking about with our competence. Now, flip to the other side, character. That's a really pretty word. But it involves things like integrity, intention, follow-through, initiative, trustworthiness. Character is who you are and who you say you are with or without an audience. A colleague once told me, he said, Kayla, I define character this way. It's who you are when nobody's looking. And that's pretty cutting, isn't it? We can say a lot of things about ourselves, but do the actions really follow it through? Now, with competence, to really stand out, you begin to achieve a level of excellence with those skills. With character, it's defined through time and consistency. So, for example, we talked about that accountant. I've got to know my debits and credits. I've got to know how all of that works. Well, with character, it would sound something like this. Can my friends or my colleagues or my family trust me all the time? When I say I'm going to do something, do I consistently follow through with that so they don't worry when they ask me to help them with something? This one's a lot harder to put into practice, which is why we're going to spend a little bit more time on it, to be honest with you, because I think it's one of our greatest challenges today, regardless of your station in life. Now, I said these two work hand in hand, which means I can do all I want to improve my competency and be the smartest person I can be in whatever field of study that might be. But if I neglect really focusing on who I am as a person, who I say I am, I may achieve some success, but it'll be very short term. And it works the same way the other way. I want to keep working and focus on being the very best person I can be, but if I'm not continually trying to improve my skill set, and I had a professor once tell me that's adding tools in your toolkit, if you don't keep doing that, then I can have the best of intentions, but I don't have the skill to follow it through. So it takes both of those. So what I'm going to share with you this afternoon are 3 very quick action steps that are practical, that anyone in the room could do. So this isn't way up here in theory. This isn't only if you make X amount of money, and this isn't only if you've been in the business world for 10 years. They apply to all of us, regardless of who we are. And this is how it works. I'm going to start on competence, and I want to give you 3 success strategies. Number 1 is I get better, and we get better. Let me define what that means. For someone who's really focusing on their competence, I want to be the best fill in the blank I can be. Then that means on a regular basis, I am focusing on improving my skills, and those skills could be lots of things. But someone who is truly focused on standing out in the right way, they have some type of goal all the time. The most successful business leaders that I work with have new goals every 30 days. Every month they're working on something. And one month might be, this is my leadership month, Kayla, and I'm really working on how I talk with the people that I lead every day. I really want to do that well, and I want to understand the best way to manage Sally versus the best way to manage Bob. It's very, very different, perhaps. And that's their goal. Another month, it's I want to learn as much as I can about the customers that I serve. I want to learn as much about Murray State because I want to give back to this organization. So what can I learn about its history? That might be a goal. But every month, there's something intentional about getting better. As we grow up and as we move on into the workplace, you're going to find a couple of things. One, the older we get and the longer we do what we do, there is a desire to go deeper and deeper and deeper in our job knowledge, or deeper and deeper and deeper in our understanding. And that's what makes you an expert. But don't forget the opportunity to go this way, too. This gives me depth in what I know. Breadth gives me understanding of how it all fits together. And one education goal might be not about what I do every day, but I want to understand what you do. And that might be a goal. Because what happens, people notice that. If you're learning, it doesn't stay right here. You have to tell somebody about it. You have to share with them. And so for someone who stands out, they begin to see a change in behavior. That person's always doing something different. That person's always learning. That person's always sharing some new insight with me. And it makes you different. Now, if you are in a role in life where you impact others, say you're in a leadership role today, that's the we part of this. If I'm getting better, the natural outflow of that is I'm going to help those around me get better too. You can't help it. So you're helping them move to the next level. And so that's part one. Anybody in this room, we can have a 30-day education goal on something. And it's more than what your books tell you to do. It's more than the class assignments that you might have, but it's how am I growing as a person. Number two, you can see on our list, is I call it a lessons learned model. Mistakes are inevitable. They will happen. The key on this one is, do I keep making the same ones over and over and over again? I had a guy tell me once this story. He said, I tell my team, I want you to mess up. He said, I want you to think of that as having a loaded gun. And you're going to miss sometimes. Your aim's going to be off and you might shoot yourself in the foot. That's okay. Do it once. Fix your aim. Don't keep shooting the same foot. Figure it out. And what we're talking about here is this wisdom over time that people begin to see, wow, that person grows. They've matured. And look where they used to be. Look where they are now. And they have a discipline of slowing down every now and then and hitting that pause button. It's what I call it, the pause button in life. When we mess up or when something completely blows up, instead of doing this and who messed up, we have that moment of stepping back to say, what could I do so that that doesn't happen again in the future? Is there something proactive that I could look at? If I would have approached this or looked at this a little bit differently, could we have had a different outcome? And if you're in a role of leadership, it's an incredible discipline to create with your team so that as a team, we don't keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. I do consulting. I do teaching. I do organization development work. Because so many people don't know how to do that, I have job security. Because a lot of people haven't figured that piece out. And so much of it is just not making those same mistakes over and again. The third one, and it's a natural outflow of this, is that we get results. If I'm continually learning, and the people around me are as well, and we're learning from these mistakes, we are achieving results. Those never happen by accident. And so I would encourage the discipline here is that I have goals that I'm continually working toward. There may be several of them. But my discipline is I have lots of little milestones along the way to make sure I get there. And it's not just getting things done. We can all get stuff done. We can all check it off. But we get things done the right way. People look to us and say, you know, if I ask Bob to do something, I never have to worry about it. I know he's going to get it done, and I know he's going to do it the right way. Meaning no shortcuts, efficiency, but no shortcuts to quality. And also, you achieve results, but not at the expense of someone else. It's really where that we thing comes into play instead of my stuff. So those are the three. You really want to focus on your competency? Have some type of goal every 30 days to keep getting better at whatever your craft is, whatever your skill is, whatever your passion is. Intentionally continue to develop that. Make it deep, but have a broad approach as well. Secondly, develop the discipline of slowing down when things don't go right or things mess up, and having that assessment moment to say, what could I do differently in the future, and then do something with it. And then thirdly, focus on getting the results that you are committing yourself to. Have a system in place that gives you many milestones to reach that point. Now, I'll be honest, this is the easy one, because that sounds pretty. I want to get smarter, I want to get better, I want to be more educated, I want to get sharper in my skill. Let's talk about the other side. How do I focus on my character? Well, these are my 3 steps. The first I call a mirror moment. It's always going to begin with a self-assessment. I have yet to meet anyone in my several years. I have never met anyone that would say, you know, I really want to be the worst person I could be. I mean, that might be your world, but I've never met anybody like that. Everybody wants to be better, and they say they're better, and they have great intentions. But I can't get there unless I slow down a bit and say, how am I really doing? So this is the mirror moment. It's self-assessment. I would encourage you periodically, slow your world down a little bit and think about the relationships in your life. How many people come to me for advice because they value my opinion or my insight? How often do people around me come to me and say, Kayla, I want you to take this project and run with it. I trust you. You go and do it. Or are people spoon-feeding me things they need me to do for them? Do people trust my outcomes? Do they trust my process? How many times do folks come to me and they say, I need to confide in you and I don't know what to do? Please help me. Because that trust is there that you're sound, you're solid, you're wise. Now, if you're not sure how to do that, how to ask those questions, because most of us we're pretty light on ourselves when it comes to that, ask someone around you and I promise you they'll tell you. That's your starting point. Then number 2 and 3 are pretty closely related. You've got to have checks and balances in place. Those are tools and resources that every week, every 2 weeks, you pause and you say, what did I accomplish? Did I get done what I needed to get done? And if I didn't, how am I going to recorrect and autocorrect for the following week to stay on task? Who did I not follow through with? Who did I let down? Who did I make a promise to that I didn't circle back and correct? And those are tools and resources. It might be nothing more than a checklist. For some of us, that's all it needs. You don't need an iPhone to do that. You don't need technology. It's a piece of paper and a pencil just to walk me through that. And because we can't do things alone, that's why we put number 3 on the list. You need an accountability buddy. Nobody can do anything alone. We need folks in our life that come alongside us and keep us honest and keep us on target. Now here's the key. Don't pick just anybody for that. Be extremely selective. These aren't your best friends. These aren't the people that are going to enable you and kind of egg you on. They're the people that are going to say, Kayla, you messed up, and you need to fix that. You said you were going to do it, and you didn't. What are you going to do about it? That's all in love, but you need those people that are going to really be honest with you. I call it your personal board of directors. That's what you need. My goal for you, I want you to stand out in the marketplace, and if you do these things intentionally, I promise you, you will be different. People will make different decisions based on you, and you will stand out in the marketplace. Thank you.